It has been evident for the last 4 years that politically sponsored macho nationalism has impinged upon the government's strategic flexibility in dealing with Pakistan, China, and handling of the situation in J. Even a pragmatic course correction is seen as a setback, or looked at with suspicion by the government's own nationalist supporters and a jingoistic media. The opposition remains cynical, and views the government's efforts as lacking in sincerity. Consensus on major aspects of foreign and internal security policy has been lost. This was evident when the Union Home Minister announced via Twitter on June 16, 2018, the unilateral suspension or cessation of military operations during the holy month of Ramzan in J. Over the last 1 week, the issue has been discussed threadbare. A host of issues were thrown up, and the opposition ironically came from the government's own supporters. The initiative was quickly termed as a ceasefire, which it is not, as the unilateral suspension of military operations came with a caveat that the security forces will respond to any terrorist-initiated action or even its anticipated imminency against security forces, people or public property. Comparisons were made with the 2000 ceasefire, which allegedly gave respite to terrorists, handicapped the security forces, and resulted in heavy casualties. In the year 2000, the insurgency was peaking. 4 to 5 major encounters took place every day, and the number of terrorists killed in 1 year was 1,500–2,000, and numbers operating varied from 3,000–4,000. There were a number of terrorist organizations, groups, both Pakistani and indigenous. Vajpayee had announced the ceasefire to break the impasse with Pakistan, Hurriyat and Hizbul Mujahideen, the principal indigenous terrorist organization. Talks were held with all three Pakistani terrorist organizations worked overtime to scuttle the negotiations by engaging the security forces and killed Majid Dar, the negotiator. The foreign, i.e. Pakistani terrorists, did not stop their operations, and security forces continued to suffer casualties. Yet the impasse was broken and earnest negotiations began with Pakistan, leading to the 2003 ceasefire on the lock and establishment of a framework for negotiations, which was further pursued by Manmohan Singh. The confidence of the people was regained, and the back of the terrorism was broken over the next few years. The situation now is very different. The number of terrorists is only 200 to 250. The number of Pakistani terrorists is negligible, and indigenous terrorists have taken the lead. Training is carried out in-house and lacks quality. Due to a better counter-infiltration grid, infiltration has reduced and the availability of arms and ammunition is limited. Yet the bloodshed of the last 3 decades without any tangible achievement and lack of any political initiative has led to anger and frustration, which has manifested into a virtual fidayan culture among the youth and more dangerously among the unarmed people. More common people who rush to rescue their boys get killed than the number of terrorists. The people now are more alienated than they were at the peak of the insurgency. Pakistan, in fact, is riding piggyback on the wretched and despondent people of Kashmir. Troops are not likely to suffer any more casualties than what was happening before May 16, 2018. These may well be less, as most action is in any case initiated by the security forces. The fear of terrorist regrouping etc. is ill-founded, as most operations are intelligence-driven and surgical in nature. Cessation of the rather limited cordon and search operations will bring marginal relief to the beleaguered people. What then is the unilateral suspension of operations going to achieve? The answer is simple. If it is part of a larger peace initiative that includes a meaningful dialogue with all stakeholders which is sustained despite setbacks, then it is a welcome bold first step that will go a long way in assuaging the grief and despondency of the people. If not, then it will be another cosmetic step probably taken to make the PM's visit of May 19 a success. The PM did visit all three parts of the state on May 19, 2018. His speeches were most appropriate. He repeated his now famous words which he had spoken from the ramparts of the Red Fort, Nagali se, Kashmir ki samasya suljegi gail lagan se. Kashmir's problems can be solved only with embracing the people of Kashmir, not with bullets or abuses. Come on, Mr. Prime Minister, seize the moment and walk the talk. Indian Army can maintain the status quo indefinitely, but what is the use of controlling the land without the soul of the people? And status quo implies your political failure. You are known for realpolitik and hug diplomacy. The nation has placed you on a pedestal. Forget the local politicians, interlocutors and administrators, just step out and hug the people of Kashmir and the tide will turn. Disclaimer, views expressed above are the author's own.